What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over the 2001 Elektra series. Now, technically, this is going to be our last video of that series. And the reason why, because after this story arc, there was only one more issue. And with that one more issue, it was really more of Robert Rowdy kind of giving us a quick rundown of the character of Elektra and how her first death had actually affected other people around the world, but also herself in the rest of her life. It's not really that important, so that's why I say today is going to be our last video for the 2001 series of Elektra, because after that book, the series was canceled. Now, with that being said, today's story arc is really more of what would happen if Elektra got sick on the job? What would happen if she got the flu in the middle of one of her assassination attempts? And it does kind of make for a somewhat interesting story arc. Not the greatest, but still somewhat enjoyable. And I do hope that you guys also enjoy today's comic book video. But here we go. Now, the opening pages of this book is really more of Elektra coming back home to America. You see, she was in a small nation on her last story arc where she was given a job to kill off a cult leader. Now, on her way back home to America, really on her way back home to her apartment, she gets a phone call for her next assignment. But while she's on that phone call, the news report is telling that there's some kind of new flu out there that's affecting a lot of people in the small area of Asia, the same area that she had just left in our previous story arc. And so we're kind of getting the hint right there that there is a possibility that Elektra might have this new flu. Either way, she does finish her phone call and she does get her new assignment to go after a different person. And matter of fact, we jump over to her next target. And so we jump over to a character known as Evgeny. And I really hope I pronounced the name correctly. I did go online to get a better idea of how to pronounce his name. Now, when it comes to Evgeny, he's actually a mob boss in this New Jersey area called Barrington Beach. Now, in this area, he owns the entire boardwalk, it seems. And matter of fact, the people there, they know him very well. The cops there, they know him very well. And matter of fact, every single person in that area, they are scared of him. Now, for Evgeny, he's kind of full of himself. He kind of believes that he is untouchable. There's no way that anybody can do anything to him. Now, we also see him with his son, Yuri. Now, when it comes to Yuri, Yuri just finished an entire career at college at Harvard University. And so this kid's kind of like, hey, Dad, listen, I think I have some good ideas for the family business. Now, this really shows that these two characters, they have different ideas of how to make money. When it comes to Evgeny, he's kind of still old school, drugs, sex workers and things like that. Those kind of rings. But when it comes to Yuri, he's more on the digital side, DVDs, pirating, and the list goes on. And so for his father, he's more of like, no, I know how to run my business. No, I know what's best for our family. Yes, you may have gone to Harvard, wrong H University. Yes, you may have gone to Harvard, done great things out there, but now you're back here in my area. And let me tell you right now, I know how to work this entire area. I know what's right for our entire family. Now, he does walk into what seems to be a brothel where, of course, he's looking for a woman for the evening. Now, apparently, some new girl named Amanda had just started. And so the person in charge of the entire brothel, she tried to tell Evgeny that his new girl, Amanda, is not ready for his kind of activities. But for Evgeny, it really shows that because he believes he's untouchable, that he's in charge of everybody, that he does not care what other people think. And so he grabs the young girl and they head back to his place. Now, once they do get back to his place, you do have Amanda, the young woman, try to get away from him because she knows that she's not ready for his kind of activities. And so she was actually able to scratch his face and to get away. Now, while she's trying to get away, his guards or his fellow men are trying to shoot at her. And apparently, they could not get her at all. So she was able to get away. Now, once he does go inside for the night, we see on the outside that Elektra has arrived. Now, like I said earlier, she just came home from her last assignment. And apparently the news said that there was a new flu strain out there in that area where she was just at. And the reason why I'm bringing that up right now, because for Elektra, while she's trying to jump around the guy's actual property and trying to get towards the actual house, well, when it comes time for her to grab the next tree branch in the middle of her jump, it does seem like her vision is a tad bit messed up because she was unable to grab that tree branch and, well, she falls straight to the ground and kind of hurting her arm a tad bit. And so with that happening, she's all like, that seems weird, but also she has to retreat for the time being. Kind of give her arm a tad bit of rest so that she's able to be 100% when it comes to going after her next target. And so later on that night, she tries to scale the side of the building to get on the roof to find a better way inside the actual house. Except once she's able to reach the rooftop, once again, thanks to her being a tad bit sick right now, she makes too much noise. And of course, some guys hear her on the roof and they're kind of like, hey, we should most likely check that out. And so when they go to the rooftop, they find her. And of course, it leads into a fight. Now, really, for Elektra, if she was on top of her game right now, these two guys would be dead in a matter of seconds. But the problem is she is sick. And so she was able to take out one guy at least, but the other one was able to get away with just a stab wound. But she has to retreat because she realized there's something wrong with her. And it kind of shows that for Elektra, she's not really used to the idea of being sick. And she's kind of wondering how in the world is she going to be able to complete this job? And so as we get into the next chapter, it's really more of the guy telling his boss, Evgeny, what happened to him. Now, for his boss, Evgeny, he can't really believe what actually happened to his men. One is dead and one is injured by some kind of woman. And so for the first couple panels, it's kind of like, okay, you know what? I don't believe your story until he shows him the weapon that Elektra left behind when she stabbed this guy. And once you have Evgeny see the weapon and you have him say like, she was wearing red, she was wearing ninja outfit, he knows who she is. He knows it is Elektra. Now, when he calls in his best guys to kind of help handle the situation, they don't believe that Elektra is there. And really, we had talked about this before when it came to Robert Rowdy's run on Elektra, because for Robert Rowdy, he basically told us that when it comes to Elektra, she's kind of like a myth to most of the people in the world. The whole idea that people don't believe that she's actually real, that she's some kind of assassin who may or may not come after you. But for Evgeny, he's like, no, I've seen her before. If she's here right now, that means she's coming after me. She's here to kill me. But the rest of his crew, they don't believe that she's actually real. But the way he's acting, they're kind of being freaked out at the moment because he's acting like a madman because he's mad at them for not believing that he's actually being hunted by Elektra. Now, at the same time, it's also him kind of wondering who had hired her because he knows that for Elektra, she would not just come after you for no actual reason. She has to have a reason to come after you. And so for Evgeny, he realized that somebody in his organization had to hire her to come after him. Now, once you have his son, Yuri, say like, hey, dad, listen, there's no way it was me or anybody else in this room that will hire somebody to kill you. He's now trying to think, okay, who's outside my organization want me dead? And let's not forget, this man believes that he is untouchable, that everyone in that area knows who he is. Everyone in that area knows that he is some kind of mob boss. And so for him, it's kind of like, that leaves the door open for almost anybody in the city. But then he realized it could have been that Amanda girl, the one he took from the brothel earlier. He tried to have some activities with, but she ran away. And so he now believes in the possibility it was her or the lady in charge of the entire brothel. And really, once he gets there, he demands the person in charge of the brothel to bring out Amanda because he believes that she has nowhere else to go, that he believes that she must be there hiding. But at the same time, he also believes that she was the one who had hired Elektra. Now, lady in charge of the brothel, she tells him like, listen, she's not here. The last time I saw her, she left with you. And the question is now, where is she? And so for Evgeny, he realized that maybe she's not there. And so he goes on with his day. Really, he leaves the brothel to find other people who may or may not want to hire Elektra to get rid of him. Now, after he does leave, we do see that Amanda is there. She was hiding there after their incident earlier, and thankfully he didn't see her. Now, honestly, she's not really important because out of this section right here, we're not going to see her ever again in the rest of the story. But we do see him going after other people in the city near the boardwalk to hopefully figure out who was the one who hired Elektra to come after him, who was the one who wants him basically dead. Now, we cannot forget that this is not his first time running into Elektra. He met her before. You see, he didn't tell his son Yuri the first time he met Elektra. It was a long time ago when he was not really in charge of the family. But he does tell us that there was a time where the Ma family had to meet with another Ma family to kind of make a deal with one another. And really, the meeting was going well. But then Elektra appeared. Now, when she appeared, she cleared the entire room almost. But for Evgeny, he realized at that moment how great she was as an assassin. Like, she was unstoppable. There were two different families in there that had so many guns that they could have used to actually bring her down. And unfortunately, no one could get her. And she was able to take down her targets just like that. But he was able to get away just barely. But with Elektra coming after him, this is a man who is completely paranoid. And really, he has the right to be paranoid because he's seen her in action before. He heard the stories about her. He knows that what she is actually capable of if she wants to kill one of her targets. But the thing is, he still believes that somebody out there had hired her to come after him. Now, yes, he is correct, but he believes it has to be somebody in his organization. And matter of fact, there is a brief moment where he believes it is actually his son who may have hired Elektra to come after him to hopefully kill him. Because let's not forget, when it came to him and his son Yuri, they did not really agree on how to run the family business. For Yuri, he wants to go more digital. But for Evgeny, he wants to stay old school. And so with their minds being in different areas, he's kind of believing right now in the possibility it could have been his son who hired Elektra. And so he actually does attack his son. Then he realized that he's in the wrong for attacking his own son because he believes that his own son may have hired an assassin to kill him. But later on that night, you didn't have Evgeny try to get a full night of sleep. But while trying to do that, this is a man who's still very paranoid in the possibility that maybe, just maybe, Elektra could come out of nowhere and try to kill him in his sleep. Except he does hear a bunch of noise on the rooftop. And yes, it is Elektra, but let's not forget that she got the flu. Now, earlier on, the flu has not fully affected her just yet, but by this point in the story arc, it has completely taken over her body to the point where she had just crashed through the skylight and she is completely knocked out. And so for Evgeny, this is perfect because now he can take Elektra as a hostage to learn who in the world had actually hired her. But on top of that, at least now he can say, hey, you know what? She's out cold, which means I have the chance to actually survive here. This is great. And so as we get into the final chapter for today's video, it's really more of Evgeny trying his best to figure out, okay, who hired her. And so his main goal is to interrogate her, to torture her, to hopefully get that information out of her. But the problem is for Elektra is that flu is taking over her body completely. She can barely stay awake. And this man is smacking her like no other to hopefully get what he wants out of her. Now, his son Yuri, we kind of see the idea that he's very concerned for Elektra, like he actually knows her very well. But also he's scared of the idea that she might reveal a big secret of his. And so that is the moment when we learned that it was actually Yuri who had hired Elektra to kill off his father. And the reason why, because like I said earlier, when it came to Yuri, he wanted to do new things in the family business, but his father still believed in the old ways, the old school ways. But also because his father believed that he knew what was best for the actual family. And so for Yuri, he hated the idea that his father was not even trying to give him a fair chance here. And so what he did was he hired Elektra to go ahead and kill off his father so that he'll be able to actually take over the family to kind of show that he knew what he was talking about. And so as we jump back over to the present day, this man is freaking out about the possibility that Elektra might actually tell his father that it was your son who hired me to kill you. Now for Yuri, he tried to tell his father like, hey dad, you know what? Why are you trying to torture her? Why are you trying to get this piece of information out of her? Why not just go ahead and, kill her off? Now, for Evgeny, he does believe that Yuri is right. He should kill off Elektra, but he still wants to know who had hired her to come after him. Now, with Elektra being sick with the flu, she begins to hallucinate really bad to the point where she believes that now she is talking to the demon god known as Bara, or the god of death to be more exact. Now, we had talked real briefly about Bara in our last video because when it came to Elektra, she went to a different country where in that country, Bara was their god of death. And so for her, she believes right now that she is seeing the god of death in front of her. But in reality, it's just, Evgeny and his crew. And so you have Bara kind of basically talking down to her, saying like she's nothing, that she cannot even stop him, the god of death. But you have Elektra believing that she's actually having a conversation with Bara, and so she's trying her best to talk back to it, saying that she'll break free and actually kill off the god of death. Now, while she is saying all of this, you have Evgeny and his crew believe that she has gone officially crazy. And they're kind of like, you know what? Let's go ahead and just step away for a brief moment because honestly, she's kind of scary right now. And I feel like she might actually kill us if we give her the chance. Now, once you have most of the crew leave, including Evgeny, you have Yuri stay behind. And the reason why, because he still believes that Elektra is on his side, that Elektra is going to help him killing off his father. Except as soon as the man cuts her free, she kills off Yuri just like that. There goes Yuri. And the only reason why, because she saw Yuri as Bara, the god of death. Something she has to conquer, something she has to get rid of. And the reason why I'm saying that, because remember, for Elektra, she had died by the hands of Bullseye, but then she was brought back by the Hand. And so after being brought back to life after being killed off by Bullseye, it's kind of like she was able to cheat death, but at the same time, she's still trying her best to conquer death. The whole idea that she was brought back to life and sooner or later, she might meet her actual end once again. Either way, because of Elektra being sick, she still continues to hallucinate to the point where she believes that every single member of the actual family, including Evgeny, she believes is actually Bara, the god of death. And so right now, she's trying her best to conquer the god of death by killing off the god of death. And so the entire family, the entire Ma family has been killed off by Elektra just like that. But in reality, she has no idea that she is killing them off. And the book really ends with her going back to her hotel room and getting some rest. And once she was able to get that rest, she does feel a whole lot better. But now she's kind of wondering, what the heck just happened and how the heck she got back to her hotel room. Either way, you do have the hotel owner tell her, like, hey, listen, you gotta leave because I actually need this room for my new customer coming in later on today. So, sorry, but get out. And the book really ends on that note right there. And like I said, there was one more issue after this story arc. It was really used as a way to wrap up the entire series. But yeah, this is going to be the end of our coverage over Elektra, the 2001 series. So we covered Brian Michael Bendis, Greg Rucka, and now Robert Rowdy's run on the character. So yeah, guys, that's it. And I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video, but also our coverage over the entire series. Because honestly, I found most of the stories somewhat enjoyable or really good. For me, there weren't any really bad stories in this actual series. But with that being said, guys, see you on the next comic book video. Later.